As Toronto's multi-billion-dollar budget is nearing the final stages, housing advocates are calling on the city to invest in people, not policing. Two major issues at play right now are long-term housing solutions and immediate action to get people off the streets. You were saying that 100 people are going to be turned away from a shelter tonight?
Every night on average. That's currently what's happening.
Toronto's recent cold snap amplified the housing crisis. Within hours of the extreme cold weather alert being issued, the only two warming centers in the downtown core were over capacity, with the other two operating at almost 100%. The city quickly added more than 400 spaces to the shelter system, and staff were told no one gets turned away. Outreach worker Greg Cook tells me the situation was truly heartbreaking.
They were adding 8 beds at this shelter, 6 beds at that shelter, and literally in dining rooms and hallways. And even then it was full.
Dozens of housing advocates rallied outside City Hall, staging a so-called die-in to represent the lives lost on city streets. On Tuesday, council will convene to consider keeping warming centers open around the clock for the rest of the winter.
I think as healthcare providers, it's morally distressing to see that somebody comes in with frostbites, hypothermia, and then having to discharge them back onto the street.
Right now, cold weather alerts, which allow warming centers to operate, are only issued when the temperature hits -15 without the wind chill. Dr. Telvir Mandoor tells me even weather just below zero can be dangerous.
Try staying outside at -5 degrees for several hours at night. The problem with frostbite, these injuries stay with people for a lifetime. This is pain, this is disability, this is trauma.
Housing advocates are also calling for warming centers and respite spaces to operate 24/7 and stay open until shelter capacity is below 90%. They want all shelter hotels to also stay open and for the city to stop cracking down on encampments. They're also calling for the $50 million increase to the police budget to be redirected to critical social services.
Instead of taking money away from those life-saving services, that they invest in those instead of paying police overtime to sit around on the TTC and kick people out and wake people up who are just trying to survive.
The city tells us the tabled budget proposes major investments to help ease the unhoused crisis, with nearly $300 million earmarked for Toronto community housing and tens of millions more for programs like eviction prevention, a rent bank, and employment and social services. But Cook says after many years of cuts to drop-ins and other programs, this is not enough.
It's a huge public health emergency, and so we need City Council to treat it as such.
Now, once again, warming centers will be the hot topic tomorrow here at City Hall as expansion is debated, while the final budget meeting is slated for next Tuesday.